and let us all do we can to build a better future.
Someone needs to check on AOC. Someone needs to check on AOC right away. You know, when Tucker Carlson was kicked off of Fox News, AOC did her little victory dance. She's like, yeah, deplatforming works, and it is important. It works. AOC was happy. She got rid of the violent Tucker Carlson. It was an uphill fight. She was screaming from Congress, screaming on the rooftops, screaming in the streets of New York City, walking with the protesters, saying deplatforming works. But, and that's but with two T's, turns out that fantastic world that AOC was dreaming the dream about never came into fruition. Because now Tucker Carlson is back on Twitter. Elon Musk seems to have hit a home run homer. So let's go ahead and at least address what's going on. But first, a beginning is a very delicate time. And I want to pull up this video here of AOC doing her victory dance. Donna, shout out to Donna Independent, Truth Freedom, right there. She's the one who captured this lovely little video. And here's AOC looking so confident, look so happy, like deplatforming works. Like, yes, I won.
Tucker Carlson is out at Fox News. Couldn't have happened to a better guy. What I will say, though, is while I'm very glad that the person that was arguably responsible for some of the largest, driving some of the most amounts of death threats and violent threats, not just to my office, but
you need to calm down, AOC. Come on. That's not how you're going to ask Tucker Carlson out on a date.
To plenty of people across the country. I also kind of feel like I'm like waiting for the cutscene at the end of a Marvel movie after all the credits have rolled. And then you see like the villain's like hand reemerge out to grip over like the end of a building or something. But
with two T's,
deplatforming works.
No, it doesn't, AOC. But at least according to her, deplatforming does work. Censorship. AOC. DSA's darling. Justice Democrats' darling. The one who calls Nancy Pelosi Mama Bear is once again saying this.
Deplatforming works. And it is important. And there you go.
But little would she know, as someone who likes to tweet out things like, what does Medicare for all mean for you? What does student debt forgiveness mean for you? Or being angry about forced to vote as she tweets out, this is violence. Oh, to see the look on her face or to read her mind as soon as she saw that Twitter is going to be hosted. Elon Musk, the guy who owns Twitter, is going to have Tucker Carlson on that platform. And look, we talked about this on RBN's live stream. The fact that Twitter could be changing it to something that's akin to YouTube or be a social media platform for, I guess, content creators, creating ad revenue, subscriptions, and so much more. And this is a pretty big goddamn deal. So I would say this is a new beginning. I would love to read her thoughts just to see the look on her face as soon as she saw that news. Now, I know a lot of people were upset about what was happening, especially early on, because it looked like there was no hope on the horizon. You know, I mean, there were some people who were just really sad that, well, Tucker was off Fox News.
Okay, Tucker Carlson, because I can fix him. He's close. He's so close sometimes.
She would rather cuddle her Tucker Carlson body pillow.
But you don't have to be sad, Shu. You don't have to be sad. Tucker is back. So I want to play this video. It's pretty interesting to see, especially in regards to what this means for the future of Twitter and so much more.
It's Tucker Carlson. You often hear people say the news is full of lies, but most of the time that's not exactly right. Much of what you see on television or read the New York Times is in fact true in the literal sense. It could pass one of the media's own fact checks. Lawyers would be willing to sign off on it. In fact, they may have. But that doesn't make it true. It's not true. At the most basic level, the news you consume is a lie of the stealthiest and most insidious kind. Facts have been withheld on purpose, along with proportion and perspective. You are being manipulated. How does that work? Let's see. If I tell you that a man has been unjustly arrested for armed robbery, that is not, strictly speaking, a lie. He may have been framed. At this point, there's been no trial, so no one can really say. But if I don't mention the fact that the same man has been arrested for the same crime 6 times before, am I really informing you? No, I'm not. I'm misleading you. And that's what the news media are doing.
It's interesting, and I got to pause it here. I'll continue on. That we're finally having this conversation about what corporate media truly represents. See, corporate media, they read out information or statements that the establishment deems to be okay. Media here in the United States doesn't inform the people. It's supposed to placate, calm the people down, and have you not question anything as you go on to your Monday morning, Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, Friday morning routine. That's it. Don't question anything. Trust the people in the suits and ties. Let them tell you the neoliberal propaganda as you just carry out your business. The media is not informing you. They're not going to tell you about why we're going to war, why a bank is being bailed out, why Wall Street's being bailed out, why politicians are doing insider trading and not being held accountable for their clear illegal activities, why we have the most incarcerated people in the free world, why we have all these coups and regime change wars and sanctions in poor countries, or why there's a border crisis. The media will never tell you why. It's designed to tell you to be stupid and shut up. And the thing is, I think a lot of people are becoming aware of it. I know we talked about this on RBN's show last night, but to be very clear here, look, Tucker Carlson, because we mentioned this, where he was on a podcast talking about how he once supported the war in Iraq and realized that he was part of a system that was lying to the American people. Now, look, there's a lot of things I disagree with Tucker Carlson with, but I want to judge people on the content of their character and who they represent. I'm not going to have a bias. Now, we all have a bias. We all do. But when it comes down to doing this show and informing people, it's important we look at an individual altogether. And Tucker Carlson's show was a #1 show on Fox News. And unlike other Fox News hosts, Tucker Carlson had a lot of people, especially on the left, progressives, independent thinkers on his show, and he let them speak. And I remember having this conversation with Larry Sharp. This was like 2 weeks ago the time when Tucker Carlson was let go from Fox, and Fox News is hemorrhaging viewers. And I was saying on that show that, look, there's a very good chance that Fox News might not recover. Now, Tucker Carlson will land on his feet, but this was a pretty big deal. His show was kind of fundamentally important. Where else would you see on corporate media talk about how ridiculous and stupid the war in Ukraine is? Or who else would you see in corporate media talk about the freedom, calling for the freedom of Julian Assange and the pardoning of Edward Snowden? Nowhere else. Not BSDNC, not CNN, not ABC, not CBS. They would never do that. So this is a sign of things to come. And I'm very curious to see what this new platform, or how Elon Musk is going to reform Twitter into something else. Now, again, I do call into question of Elon Musk's own hypocrisy when it comes down to these things. I want to see how consistent he will be. There's some things that I like that he's done, and other things, especially with this whole thing with Substack, pretty stupid. Hey, Elon Musk, good friend of the show, Case Study QB, his Twitter account's still being censored. And that was done by the previous administration. And all what Case Study QB is posting is clips from corporate media. But if you go to his account in incognito mode, it's telling you, hey, this is sensitive material. It's the kind of warning you get going to an adult performer's Twitter account. Like, hey, this is sensitive stuff. And all he's posting is clips from CNN or Fox News. Continuing on.
In every story that matters, every day of the week, every week of the year. What's it like to work in a system like that? After more than 30 years in the middle of it, we could tell you stories. The best you can hope for in the news business at this point is the freedom to tell the fullest truth that you can. But there are always limits. And you know that if you bump up against those limits often enough, you will be fired for it. That's not a guess, it's guaranteed. Every person who works in English language media understands that. The rule of what you can't say defines everything. It's filthy, really, and it's utterly corrupting. You can't have a free society if people aren't allowed to say what they think is true. Speech is the fundamental prerequisite for democracy. That's why it's enshrined in the first of our constitutional amendments. Amazingly, as of tonight, there aren't many platforms left that allow free speech. The last big one remaining in the world, the only one, is Twitter.
And there was a point in time when Twitter was not. You had to walk around eggshells. And according to the Twitter files and everything else, all the information with that, and yes, even the interview that the Zuck did on Joe Rogan's show, let's be very clear here. You had government agencies dictating what could and could not be posted on Twitter, and yes, even on Facebook. Hard Lens Media knows all too well, not once, but 8 times, starting in 2020. 8 times, counting it 8 times. We were hit by YouTube for quote-unquote violating its guidelines, and thankfully to all of you lovely, beautiful people, we survived all those times. We were right, and YouTube's AI is just an idiot, and the algorithm was being stupid, but we won. We won the day. We seized the day. But that shouldn't happen to any independent media content creator. Now, thankfully, we're still here. A lot of our other colleagues got hit really hard and have been unable to recover. Now, I don't know what exactly lies in the future for Twitter, because, again, it's under control of Elon Musk. I ideally want it to be better, and I hope that's the case. I'm very curious to see just what it can do. Some things have changed. Other things have not fundamentally changed. But freedom of speech is important for our democracy. Or freedom of speech is important for the people so that one day we could get a democracy here in this country. Okay, there we go. Had to correct myself.
Where we are now. Twitter has long served as the place where our national conversation incubates and develops. Twitter is not a partisan site. Everybody's allowed here, and we think that's a good thing. And yet, for the most part, the news that you see analyzed on Twitter comes from media organizations that are themselves thinly disguised propaganda outlets. You see it on cable news, you talk about it on Twitter. The result may feel like a debate, but actually the gatekeepers are still in charge. We think that's a bad system. We know exactly how it works, and we're sick of it. Starting soon, we'll be bringing a new version of the show we've been doing for the last 6.5 years to Twitter.
You know, AOC, TYT, and everyone else in the Vote Blue, no matter whose circle, are just human. They're upset. They're so upset. You could just hear it. You could hear the reeing in the background. You could just hear the screaming in the background. Everyone hiding underneath their beds saying, "Oh no, Tucker's on Twitter. How can I use Twitter?" You're gonna be, guess what? Guess what? All those people who say they're going to be canceling their Twitter accounts or Twitter's going to go under, it's not going to happen. Twitter ain't going nowhere. All right? Don't maybe put on my Tony Soprano or somebody from The Sopranos, anyone of the Soprano characters, Twitter ain't going nowhere. Okay? Okay? Twitter ain't going nowhere. Twitter going bankrupt. Whatever happened there. It's not going to go anywhere. No one's going to rage quit Twitter. No one's going to give up Twitter. I'm sorry, lovelies. Twitter's going nowhere.
We bring some other things too, which we'll tell you about. But for now, we're just grateful to be here. Free speech is the main right that you have. Without it, you have no others. See you soon.
All right. And you know what? More power to Tucker Carlson. More power. And yes, we do invite him to be a guest on the show. In fact, I'll send out a message. Maybe yes, maybe no. But here's something again from Elon Musk. himself on this platform. Unlike the one-way street of broadcast, people are able to interact, critique, and refute whatever is said. And of course, anything misleading will get community notes. I love that community notes went after Joe Biden and just said, hey, he's not the most pro-union president. That was a spicy meatball. I also want to be clear that we have not signed a deal of any kind whatsoever. Tucker is subject to the same rules and rewards of all content creators. Rewards mean subscriptions and advertising revenue share coming soon. Very curious. Maybe Heartlands Media should get on that train, which is a function of how many people subscribe and the advertising views associated with the content. I hope that many others, particularly from the left, also choose to be content creators on this platform, to which I have to say, Elon Musk, we'd love to interview you about that as well. So there you go. We will be more than happy to check that out and talk to you about that. So yes, that is something we would like to know more about, what this means in the future, what this means in the future for Twitter, and so much more. So going forward, again, it's kind of interesting. Now, again, this was posted last night. And this is from, I want to make it very clear, Wall Street Silver. This is, again, you could check all of this out. This is in regards to Tucker Carlson's Twitter account growth, how it's grown exponentially. That's a pretty big deal, folks. A huge deal. An incredible deal in regards to what lies in store for Twitter. And I, for one, encourage these new changes. So, in regards to this, does AOC have anything to say? I'll give it her last word. Not about deplatforming. It's kind of a weak last word. Like I said last week, Twitter brought to you by MyPillow and only MyPillow. Oh, really? Twitter, already wary of advertisers, are going to love paying to have their brands associated with Tucker Carlson. And see, the thing is, history, and the future. What lies in store? All this stuff will be archived and remembered. And the thing is, it wasn't too long ago where everyone was saying, Elon Musk owning Twitter, that's it. It's the end. Twitter's gone. Bye-bye, Twitter. No, Twitter's still here. And the thing is, Tucker Carlson had a very huge audience, AOC. An audience that he knew how to speak to. And yes, he even brought in people who are of different political ideologies to watch his show. Because let's face it, sometimes Tucker Carlson can get it right and have in some very powerful guests like Tulsi Gabbard, Dr. Cornel West, Jimmy Dore, Glenn Greenwald, and so much more. You don't really know what the future holds, AOC. Cancel culture doesn't really last that long. People get tired of somebody finger wagging at them, telling them what they can and cannot do, what they can and cannot see, what they can and cannot watch. But maybe AOC, that's what you like, since Mama Bear Nancy likes to wag her finger at you. So, folks, Twitter's going to be interesting. Social media is going to be interesting. And it's going to be very curious to see how these also fantastic politicians like AOC are going to be reacting to this new change. Watch. All these fantastic politicians will be calling for more censorship, more suppression. Stand for free speech. Stand for free thinking. Be consistent in that. Because if they could silence one voice, they could silence us all. So, let's end this segment on a humorous note with smiles. Because after all, we all deserve to laugh. Right?
Yeah.
He's hilarious, extremely funny, loves puns.
I mean, I feel like there's a comedy situation here.
That's good.
That deplatforming sure does work.